It's sad. It's very, very sad and unfortunate what has happened to Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham, let's be clear here. Sophie Cunningham was targeted.
We've also got a very interesting picture that has emerged with Bria Hartley smiling and laughing over this incident of Sophie Cunningham being hurt.
Okay, so I think last night was the turning point for the WNBA. One moment, Sophie Cunningham was battling like always, and the next, she was crumpled on the floor, clutching her knee in agony. The contact came from Bria Hartley, who stormed straight into her leg on the drive. The replay made it look even worse. Hartley charging in with no control, Sophie's knee buckling in a way fans don't ever want to see. Instantly, her family's frustration exploded online, furious that something like this could even happen. For a league already haunted by Caitlin Clark's time on the injured list, this felt like a cruel repeat. Another star, another injury, another dark cloud hanging over the WNBA.
When I saw it, I thought her knee dislocated.
For Indiana, this season isn't just bad, it's a living nightmare. Every week it's something new, injuries piling up, losses stacking higher, and fans left shaking their heads like they're watching a cursed franchise. It doesn't even feel like entertainment anymore. People joke you need counseling just to keep following the fever. And through it all, the NBA seems to be drifting, offering no real accountability while chaos unfolds in plain sight. A year that should have been defined by Caitlin Clark's rise is instead remembered for disaster after disaster, as Indiana finds brand new ways to break their own fans' hearts.
Let's be very, very clear here. I can't play you the video because I did one and they flagged it and copyrighted all types of stuff, so I cannot show you the video, but Sophie Cunningham was flat out targeted by a dirty player.
But Sophie's collapse? That was the lowest point yet. The arena fell silent as she lay there, hands clutched around her knee, tears streaking her face. This wasn't the kind of knock where a player pops back up. It was the kind where everyone watching instantly knows something is very wrong. The way Hartley barreled through looked reckless, almost like a football hit, and the result was devastating. Fans at home felt the air leave their lungs, and those inside the building couldn't even clap in shock. It wasn't just a play gone wrong. It was a gut punch to an already broken season.
You will see me saying, watch out for Bria Hartley because she's a dirty-ass player, and boy, did it show up again today.
Here's the cruel twist. Indiana was already getting embarrassed when this happened. Down by double digits, looking lost, and then bang, their toughest player goes down. Sophie had been the one bringing energy, the one refusing to roll over, and suddenly she's gone. It felt like the season summed up in a single moment. Not only are the Fever losing games, they're losing the very players who fight hardest to keep them alive. For fans, it was like watching the last spark of fire in a camp that's already drowning in rain suddenly get snuffed out.
Sophie Cunningham, oh man, I gotta tell you, this victory, it came with a big price.
The scene was so brutal it didn't just stay on the court. Within minutes, Sophie's family jumped online and went scorched earth. Her sister, Lindsay, blasted the league directly, saying the WNBA spends more time policing sound bites than protecting its own athletes. Fans backed her up in droves, flooding timelines with clips of the collision and demanding answers. How, people asked? Can a professional league allow its stars to get wrecked every other week with no protection, no accountability, no real change? To them, it felt less like a league and more like a backyard free-for-all where players are left on their own.
Bria Hartley, let me just start there because we've got Sophie Cunningham's sister and mother weighing in on the league.
And when you zoom in on the play itself, the anger makes sense. This wasn't just awkward footwork or a clumsy stumble. Hartley came straight into Sophie's leg, the kind of impact that makes every fan watching wince instantly. You could see Sophie's hands fly to her kneecap right away. Her patella, the center hinge of everything a basketball player does. In a single second, what looked like just another drive to the hoop turned into a nightmare slow-motion clip that nobody can unsee. The contact wasn't small. It was violent, direct, and it left one of Indiana's toughest players writhing in pain.
Sophie Cunningham was targeted, y'all. I'm telling you right now, Sophie Cunningham was targeted by Bria Hartley, and it just is what it is. It is what it is. I don't want to sit here and play games and act like, you know, she wasn't
The instant Sophie grabbed that knee, fans everywhere felt that pit in their stomach. It wasn't the kind of knock you shake off with a little ice. This looked serious, too serious. The way her body reacted screamed something structural, something that could end her season on the spot. Analysts on social media didn't hold back either. They pointed out it didn't look like an ACL, but maybe a patella rupture or even a fracture. And either way, that's the kind of injury that ends any hope of returning this year. Imagine it. Your team finally finds a spark in the middle of a nightmare season, and in seconds, it's ripped away.
There she is. Sun turn it over for a fifth time. And Cunningham is down.
And what makes this even worse is that this isn't Sophie's first run-in with bad luck. Earlier in the season, she had already suffered 2 different injuries, and both times they came against the Connecticut Sun. Twice in 1 year, same team, same misery. That's the kind of thing that starts feeling less like coincidence and more like fate mocking you. For Indiana fans, it feels like the basketball gods circled their team in red ink and said, "This is the one we'll punish." No wonder her family is outraged. Sophie had been their mid-season lifeline, the player who gave the Fever something to believe in when everything else was collapsing.
This is Hartley right here coming in.
She tries to slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls
And she
collision with that
crushes
lower
in
leg, so you're immediately
on
grab
the
it.
knee of Sophie right here.
She went down.
But losing Sophie isn't just losing a body in the rotation, it's losing a heartbeat. She was defense, she was grit, she was the one hyping Caitlin Clark when the rest of the roster stayed quiet. She brought energy, toughness, and a spark this roster desperately needed. And now, silence. Gone in an instant. And here's where the story really shifts, because fans aren't treating this like an unlucky accident anymore. They're pointing fingers at Bria Hartley, the player who has built a reputation as the league's villain. If the WNBA printed trading cards, Hartley's would come with a caution sign on the back.
I told you guys this girl was a dirty player. And that's all she did today was show how dirty she is. This is unfortunate. I don't know how the Indiana Fever can continue to survive these things.
See, this isn't a one-time thing with Bria Hartley. Fans were calling this before it even happened because her track record speaks for itself. Earlier this season, she literally yanked Angel Reese down by the ponytail like it was a wrestling match. Just days ago, she grabbed Becca Allen by the head and threw her to the floor. And those are only the recent ones. She's been tossed out of games, called for cheap shots, and every highlight reel she's in seems to end with somebody on the ground in pain. If there was an award for dirtiest player alive, Hartley would be the hands-down favorite.
We mentioned the physicality and that last possession, the contact being let go. This time, I think it was accidental.
And here's the thing. This isn't just social media exaggeration. Analysts, commentators, even former players have all said the same thing. Hartley doesn't just play aggressive, she plays reckless. Some even go further and argue she flat-out targets players, going out of her way to deliver contact that risks careers. And after watching Sophie go down in direct collision with her, are we really supposed to believe it's all coincidence? At some point, you stop giving the benefit of the doubt. Hartley's reputation is dirtier than a locker room floor, and fans are convinced this wasn't an accident. It was another hit on a growing list.
Here you see Sophie Cunningham laid out on the floor, holding her knee. The lady was in tears, crying as Lexi Hall approached her to help her through this situation. I don't know if it's her knee. I don't know if it's her Achilles, the way she was kind of dragging her foot. I don't know. But Bria Hartley has had dirty plays all season.
That's where the outrage shifts to something even bigger. The WNBA itself. Where is the accountability? Where are the suspensions? Fans are demanding answers because when a league keeps losing its stars, the bare minimum is to protect the ones who are still standing. Instead, people see referees swallowing their whistles and letting chaos run wild. It's gotten so bad that some fans have even floated the wild idea of a civil rights investigation into officiating culture. Think about that. Fans calling for government-level oversight of basketball refs. That's how broken the trust has become. People aren't just angry. They feel abandoned.
Right here, we got Sophie's sister, Lindsay, and her mom, Paula. At WNBA, maybe you should focus less on fining players for commenting on your poor officiating and more about hiring officials that are able to call a consistent game, protect your athletes. Pathetic. Praying for you, Sophie Cunningham.
And that's what makes Sophie's injury so much more than just another unlucky moment. This isn't just about one player going down. It's about the environment the league has allowed to fester. An environment where someone with Hartley's reputation can rack up dirty play after dirty play and still walk into the next game like nothing happened. An environment where refs let players get mugged on the court while they stare off into the distance. Sophie Cunningham wasn't just anyone. She was the one player who stood up for Caitlin Clark, the one who brought toughness to a soft Fever roster. And now she's left crying on the hardwood while the league pretends everything is fine.
Bria Hartley has been doing dirty things for all season. She's been a dirty player. She roughs house. And Kathy Engelberg, this is why I say you wonder why there's so many goddamn injuries all over the league, because you are allowing people to play rugby and football and do UFC moves in the middle of a basketball game.
And honestly, this would almost be forgivable if the Fever had the kind of talent to survive something like this, but they don't. Yes, Natasha Howard dropped 18 points and pulled down 9 rebounds, but it wasn't dominant. It was just fine. And Lexi Hull hit one big shot late, grabbed one key rebound, but spent most of the game as a ghost on offense. The box score might fool you into thinking this team had balance, but the eye test said otherwise. Indiana lived and died with Kelsey Mitchell. And the truth is, that's a recipe for disaster in any professional league.
In the beginning of this game, Sophie Cunningham is bringing the ball up the floor. She gets mugged, hit upside the head, knocked to the floor while dribbling the ball up the floor 75 feet away from the rim. Do you think the refs called anything? Do you think the refs called any fouls? No.
Then you see the final score, 99-93 in overtime. On paper, it's a win, but in reality, it feels more like a warning label. The Fever needed extra time just to scrape past one of the weakest teams in the league, and they lost Sophie Cunningham in the process. That's not triumph, that's survival. It's like walking away from a car crash saying, well, at least the engine still runs. The team might have picked up a W in the standings, but they walked off the court knowing something bigger than the game itself had been lost.
Sophie Cunningham, oh man, I gotta tell you, this victory, it came with a big price.
And through all of this, the shadow looming over the Fever is still Caitlin Clark. The so-called savior of the league, the rookie plastered on every billboard, has barely even touched the court. 12, maybe 13 games all season. That's it, which means she's missed more than 3/4 of the year. Let that sink in. The WNBA's biggest draw, the Face Networks won't stop pushing, has been sidelined almost the entire season. Stephanie White keeps hinting at a possible return, but at this point, who actually believes it? The question isn't if Clark can come back, it's whether it's even worth the risk for her to come back into this train wreck at all.
Yeah, officially, my 2 favorite players in this league that I really love to, particularly love to pull for, they're both out now. And it did not look good. No word on that, by the way.
Now fans are starting to lose hope. Playoff dreams are slipping away, trust in the team is evaporating, and honestly, faith in the league itself feels like it's on life support. Sophie's gone. Caitlin's barely been around. The Fever look broken. And the WNBA? They're standing right at the edge of a cliff, pretending the ground isn't crumbling beneath them. Now the only question is simple. Does Caitlin Clark risk her health to try and save this disaster? Or does she stay on the sidelines and let the league deal with the chaos it created? Either way, the Fever season is dangling by a thread, and the WNBA can't hide from the truth any longer.